end of this race. He knows that, but he's doing his utmost to put pressure on Jorge Lorenzo. Dani Pedrosa desperately clinging on in third place. Rossi still no way through on Smith or Petrucci through 5.
Yeah, this is the first big stumbling block for Valentino Rossi. We had to expect this. We couldn't expect him to just carve his way through the field. Here we go. It's Andrea Dovizioso, Aksi Rossi, Pol Espargaro, Danilo Petrucci, and as Rossi got past Bradley Smith, listen to the crowd. You know he has.
Yeah, Rossi's been brilliant on the brakes going down into that turn number 8. He picks off Smith. That's where he took Hernandez. That's where he took Michele Pirro. The gap now 10 points between Lorenzo and Rossi. Are the Hondas, though, going to run into those front tyre issues? Is Marquez and Pedrosa's right-hand side of the tyre going to start overheating? We'll find out very, very shortly, because the gap between Lorenzo and Marquez, Lorenzo's eked it out again to just over 4.5 tenths of a second.
Next on Valentino Rossi's shopping list, and he has to tick off, is his great mate Danilo Petrucci. Of course, finished second to Valentino Rossi in that rain-soaked British Grand Prix at Silverstone. They raced down towards turn 1. 24 laps to go. Another epic MotoGP battle in front of 110,000 people here in Valencia. Listen to the crowd. Rossi through on Petrucci, who runs it wide. Smith goes through as well.
It didn't look like he had to work too hard, did it, for that move on Danilo Petrucci. Petrucci had a good long look over his shoulder. Rossi then through into 7th place. Pol Espargaro in 6th. He's about 1 second clear of this battle for 7th place. Petrucci ran so wide into the mid-Newman corner at turn number 2. Bradley Smith was able to sweep through as well. Lorenzo was 0.2 of a second quicker on that lap number 6. The advantage over Marc Marquez. It's over half a second for the first time in this race.
It's down to 9 points. An advantage for Jorge Lorenzo in the World Championship. There is Rossi pulling away from Bradley Smith. Next on the shopping list, Bradley Smith's teammate, Pol Espargaro. And then his older brother, Aksi Rossi. And then the fun and games will really start.
In the first 3 sectors of this lap number 7, Valentino Rossi has already picked up 0.4 of a second on Pol Espargaro on that Tech 3 Yamaha. Here is the line to start lap number 8, and the gap is almost up to 0.7 of a second. Lorenzo marginally quicker again on that last lap from Marquez.
Here is Rossi. There's still a long, long way to go. There's still 23 laps to go. We're not even anywhere near third distance at the moment. Can he do it? There's the men in front of him. Next there, Pol Espargaro, number 46.
Well, Rossi's wide.
Oh, Rossi's gone wide at turn 2.
Cost him a couple of tenths as he tried to hunt down Pol Espargaro. It's bunching up in that battle for 4th place between Dovizioso, the Espargaro brothers, and Rossi, who's moved relatively easily away from Valentino and Bradley Smith. 0.6 of a second the gap now.
22.5 laps to go. Jorge Lorenzo leads the way. Rossi is trying to fight his way back. As we stand at the moment, Jorge Lorenzo is world champion.
Jorge Lorenzo sitting pretty just where he wanted to be at the front of this race on lap number 8. His advantage over Marc Marquez, still just over 0.6 of a second. Dani Pedrosa making little impression in 3rd place. This is where we lost Andrea. You know, they had a 4th at turn number 12 earlier on in the race. What's the gap between Pol Espargaro and Valentino Rossi? Rossi charging again, and the gap's come down to 0.4 of a second. That's a 5-4, 6th and 7th place. Rossi, though, with Lorenzo leading over the line to start lap number 9. He's got to come through to 2nd place. It looks like even beyond the capabilities of the mercurial Italian.
Here we are. There's Dovizioso, Aksi Rossi, Pol Espargaro, and there is Valentino Rossi. Long way to go. 22 laps to go. What can the Hondas do at the front? Can they haul back on Jorge Lorenzo? I think that is the absolute key. So I can't really see Rossi getting up with the Hondas, can you?
Yeah, this was Rossi on the previous lap, just running in a fraction too hot on the brakes, in a little deep down at turn number 2. But this is a real heavy 4-rider scrap now for 4th place. It's being headed by the factory Ducati of Andrea Dovizioso. but there's less than a second now, covering Dovizioso in 4th, down to Rossi in 7th place. We're on board with Rossi through the Angel Nieto corner. Now, this is where Rossi's been really strong on the brakes, down into turn number 8. He's not going to be close enough to strike on Paul Espargaro on this lap.
He can really do his chances a great deal of good. There's 3 in front. He's got to snaffle them up pretty quick. He's closing on Paul Espargaro all the time. Down through turn 11, little short straight, then that left-hand kick at turn 12. Where will he make his move? Here we go, turn 12 now, up through 13, over the rise they will come. And Rossi closing on Paul Espargaro all the time. Now, can he get a run down the start and finish straight, down into turn 1?
Yes.
The factory Yamaha against the satellite Yamaha.
This is where Rossi will be looking to dive up the inside of Paul Espargaro down into turn 1. Is he going to be close enough? No, he'll definitely try and get close enough to line up a move on Espargaro down at the second corner. Here we are then, it's the Espargaro brothers just ahead of Rossi. Is he close enough? No, he's not. Paul Espargaro really late on the brakes. Rossi closes up.
We ride with Valentino Rossi. Lorenzo's advantage at the front, coming up to around 7/10 of a second. Dovizioso, Aksi Rossi, Paul Espargaro and Valentino Rossi still running in 7th place. Can he get up into 6th? We ride with him. This is where he likes it. He's up the inside. Listen to the crowd. Valentino Rossi has passed. They touch. Him and Paul Espargaro touch elbows, but Rossi has made his way through.
Well, he had to be aggressive coming from the back of the grid. That's exactly what he has been. Valentino Rossi, he picks up 1 more place, and for the first time in this race, Rossi inside the top 6. Here we go. This is that move at turn number 6. Ran Paul Espargaro a little bit wide. Espargaro, you can see clearly Rossi was on the inside there. It was a hard move, but it was a fair move, no doubt about that. Cal Crutchlow, of course, who had to start this race from the back of the grid after those technical problems. He's just got himself up into the point-scoring places. Lorenzo over the line. Marquez, that gap has stayed pretty much constant now for the last 2 or 3 laps. Marquez, 6/10 of a second behind Lorenzo. Danny Pedrosa, 1.5 seconds behind Marquez. Rossi then, using that superior horsepower of the Yamaha down the start-finish straight to close up on Aksi Rossi on the Suzuki. This is the battle for 5th place and more precious World Championship points for the Doctor.
20 laps to go, 8 points down, separate Jorge Lorenzo and Valentino Rossi. Next on the shopping list, Aksi Espargaro on the Suzuki. Will it again be that Angel Nieto corner, or will he do it coming into turn 8? He's closing up for the kill, is Valentino Rossi.
They're not close enough at turn 6, and what he's going to do, he's going to get in the draft of Espargaro down to turn number 8. This has been his favourite overtaking spot in this race. Is he close enough? We know Aksi Espargaro is a real demon on the brakes. We know that Suzuki's got phenomenal braking stability. It's one of the sweetest handling motorcycles on the grid, and Rossi as yet has not been able to find a way through by on that GSX RI. Can't find a way through there at turn number 10 either.
Through turn 11 he comes, Rossi so close to the Suzuki. Up to turn 12, here goes Rossi, right leg out, can't do it just there. Then they flick it left, over 13, 8 points between them as they come through 13 into 14. Rossi surely will make his move as they come out of here and drag down towards turn 1.
Rossi's Yamaha should have the legs on the latest Espargaro Suzuki, but Espargaro got great drive coming out of that final corner. Can Rossi close up? Here he comes out of the slipstream. Rossi's got the inside line. He'll make that move up the inside of Aksi Espargaro. He runs it a little bit deep. Espargaro takes 5th place back.
Still 8 points between them, and they cross the line. Marquez has pulled back another 1/10 of a second on Jorge Lorenzo at the front. There's Dovizioso. There is Aksi Espargaro. And Valentino Rossi is through this time. And the crowd go wild, and this time he has made it stick. Coming out of turn 5 up towards 6.
Brilliant move by Rossi on the brakes underneath the Suzuki of Aksi Espargaro at turn number 5. So Rossi then up inside that top 5. He's got Andrea Dovizioso just ahead of him on track. Jorge Lorenzo is still leading this race. The gap's come down a fraction. by 0.4 of a second now. Marquez is trying to close that gap back. He's picked up a couple of tenths on the last lap. Danny Pedrosa has upped his pace on the last lap, actually. Pedrosa just set a personal best lap of the race. He was 0.4 of a second quicker than Lorenzo. Back with Rossi.
Rossi closing up on the Ducati of Andrea Dovizioso. What a battle these two had. The opening round of the championship in Qatar. Little did we realise where this championship would be going. Here comes Rossi, not quite close enough. Get the drive out of here. Down the start and finish straight they come. That Ducati has got a lot of grunt, as you can see. 7 points separate Lorenzo and Rossi. 18 laps to go, and the gap at the front, nearly half a second between Lorenzo and Marquez.
Dovizioso, one of the hardest men to pass in this MotoGP field. He's got the grunt of that Ducati coming out of turns 5, turn 6 and turn number 14. He's a great late breaker, is Andrea Dovizioso. Not late enough though to hold off Valentino Rossi. The crowd go absolutely crazy in the background. Rossi then inside the top 4. The gap down to 7 points. That's the advantage that Rossi had coming into this race. It's now back down to 5 points. It's all about whether Marc Marquez or Danny Pedrosa can hunt down this man, Lorenzo, at the front of the race.
This championship is far from over. We're not even at half distance now. Okay, we've been featuring Valentino Rossi. Now we have to look at this battle. This could be crucial as the Hondas try to hunt down the Yamaha of Jorge Lorenzo. 5 points between them. What a climax to the MotoGP season. Who's going to be the world champion? Is it Lorenzo? Is it Rossi? Will my voice last the call?
Lorenzo over the line to start lap number 14. He leads it by just over 4.5 tenths of a second from Marc Marquez. Danny Pedrosa still there in 3rd place. Here comes Valentino Rossi now in 4th place. He's come from the back row of the grid up to 4th place. Rossi, he's not going to finish on the podium unless there's something dramatic happens to Lorenzo, Marquez or Pedrosa, because Rossi over the line was 11.3 seconds behind Danny Pedrosa.
The only thing that can happen for Valentino Rossi is that the two Hondas pass Jorge Lorenzo. I think that's the correct scenario, isn't it? Because 2nd place will not